everything must make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's not going to, we won't resonate with it. Your mind won't accept it because it doesn't make sense. And that's why a religion, dogmatic religion, is such a confusing matter, and where people just, I believe what people say because I trust that person. But whether they speak sense or not, we just accept it. Beloveds, please don't ever do that. If I say something that doesn't make sense, talk to me about it. And then I promise you, I'll get you to the level where you see what I'm explaining, what I'm talking about. So what I want to go back to is, and I explain this in Secrets of the Unknown God quite clearly. The people say that we evolved from the ape. We evolved to humans, but the baboons and the monkeys and the ape is still there. Why didn't they become extinct then? So, beloved, you see, it works this way. Billions of years ago, 3 billion years ago, there wasn't actually life on the planet. There was no oxygen on the planet, you see? And nobody knows how the oxygen came into being. And then God, in his wisdom, he created, they call it stromatolites. It's bacteria that grows on a rock. And this bacteria actually produces oxygen. Now, there's other forms as well in the oceans, etc., that actually produces oxygen. And when this oxygen was released into the atmosphere, there was no plants. So that's when the oxygen was released into the atmosphere, then the plants started growing, and that's how evolution actually started. That's how life started. Because now when the plants were started forming on the earth, we can even go back further than that if you want to at some stage, but let us stay with evolution first. So when now the oxygen through photosynthesis produces oxygen, okay, because they live off it's the sun rays that produces this, or they live off what carbon dioxide, and they produce oxygen. So that is in how God created this entire universe. That's why I say, beloved, our God is so great. This all happens within him. So then, because there was oxygen, then the life forms started, bacterial life forms started forming in the oceans. And that start multiplying. I've got a video that explains all these things, but I can't put it on YouTube because I used some of the other scientists and people's footage to make this video, so I can't put it on YouTube. But I did release it a little while ago to all the beloveds, and if you want to, just say, and I'll try and get it to you. So anyway, so now then life forms started in the sea, and this life forms, each life form has a soul, beloved, because a soul is life. So now these life forms started becoming more intelligent. First, it was just like instinct. It became like a nervous system, and then it became, they developed a brain, and these life forms evolved into more intelligent beings. Now, beloveds, that spirit in that ape evolved. He left the ape, and then he went into the human. But there was no human. If you take 3 billion years ago, there was no humans on earth, there were no animals on earth. So where did it start? You see? So you have to start there. Then those life forms started forming, and they become, but in those life forms, are spirit and soul. So now these life forms became all the more intelligent. But now remember, beloved, it's like a school. In Secrets of the Unknown God, you'll see I explain this whole theory of how it works. So that spirit becomes more intelligent because it's like a school. In grade 1, when the first graders study and they become more intelligent, they evolve to the second grade. Now, the first grade doesn't shut down because there's new students that will come into the school. And then this second graders, they'll study and they'll advance to the third grade. You see? Now, the first grade and the second grade doesn't shut down because there are new students coming. Now, this is how the school is formed. First grade, second grade, third, 10th grade, 12th grade, university, etc., etc., etc. So it's the same with evolution. That's why God gives us all the examples to make it understandable. So now these life forms started forming, but the spirit evolved. Now there's still life forms like chickens or whatever the case may be. Now they evolved into those beings, but the chickens are still there. They're still laying eggs because the first ones, they multiplied. And then that school or that level of understanding and intelligence in those animals was set. That's it. Now that's there. Now they evolved to a higher intelligence because now this spirit that was in the chicken, say, advances to a parrot. Now parrot is very close to human. I don't want to go there at this point. But now that spirit evolves into a more intelligent body. Okay, but now there must be chickens for the lower species to evolve into. So those species will always be there for these spirits to evolve into. So a few million years ago, there were no human beings. 300,000 years ago, to be quite frank, there were no human beings. There are no Homo sapiens. It was all like in ape form. So then they evolved into Homo sapiens. And that's where, now those Homo sapiens, they evolved for another 300,000 years to where we are today. But now you have to remember that soul in these evolving bodies, they all have soul. So that soul must return to God. So the only living being, the only animal that God created on this planet that is intelligent enough to realize soul and to realize God, to serve him, is the human being. Other animals, other lower species can't serve him, you see? But the same spirit that started in the lowest life forms millions of years ago evolved into a higher species, a more intelligent species. And that spirit, that body died, and God made a more intelligent. That evolved to a more intelligent being, and it evolved into a more intelligent being and a more intelligent being. So we don't see the spirits evolving. That's why when the atheists and the scientists, when they dissect all these things, because they don't believe in God and they don't believe in spirit, not all of them, just those who don't, that are atheists, they just believe in the physical side of it. They don't believe in God. But the intelligence that creates all this, when you really look from not only a scientific point of view, take a scientific point of view on this, but you take on a godly point of view, and just how God created us, and through all these life forms, how can that just happen by itself? There must be some form of intelligence that created all this. So, and that's God, beloveds. So now this spirit evolved to a more intelligent body, and that's evolution. Now a more intelligent body was made available, and a more intelligent, and the brain, there was just a nervous system, and then there was like a little brain, and then 2 brains, and then 3 brains. And that is why the human being is so intelligent, it actually can think beyond. And now that is why we were formed. Now, every human being that you see that reach this level of understanding, to understand that no, there's much, much more to what the people say and religion and all these things. We way past that now. Now we want to reach this God. We want to become part of this creator. And that is, you can never do that in your first few lifetimes, beloved, because you started in some remote part of the world and you evolved into more intelligent, and then you were introduced to religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Muslims, whatever the case may be, and you evolved, and people twisted your mind around and they forced you and they scared you, and you scared of this and you scared of that, and then eventually, beloved, when you threaten somebody, when you continue threatening somebody, eventually they start getting cheeky, because the mind can't handle all that fear. And then they say, okay, man, if you want to kill me, kill me. I can't go through this anymore. I don't want this anymore. You see, now that's what the brain does now, and the mind, because now you say, no, well, if I'm going to burn in hell, I'm going to burn in hell, but it doesn't make sense. And that is when you reach the level when God enters your mind and he starts leading you further, because now you don't want nothing to do with dogmatic religion. You just want to reach that God, that your creator, because now you realize who you are, your soul. You have to now get rid of your mind. And that is when you reach that level, you are very far advanced. And that's why sometimes I'm not strict. I'm just telling you the truth. You're going to judge yourself, or you're going to judge me, or you're going to judge God, or whatever. But I can only give you the path. Because remember, that's why the Bible was written in codes. There was no physical Jesus or physical Adam, all those things. These are all a method of conditioning the mind into becoming like a scientist, a spiritual scientist, for you to realize, but there's nobody speaking to me. That's why Jesus said to Philip, you haven't seen me. Once you see God shows you, and now he's teaching you these things. Now you don't worry about a priest and a pastor and a pope and a what anymore. Now you're just focusing on that light that will set you free, because you're advanced. You're above dogmatic religion. You're above being conned. You're above being threatened. You're above all these things. And that's why I'm teaching you all these things, because God is science. Science is made by God. He set everything in place. And scientists only think they know. They don't know. They know. They have to know. Because it's good for all of us to know, because then we can make more sense of our path to God. If you don't understand evolution, beloveds, how are you going to understand your path to God? You just think, okay, I must go to church. I've only got this one lifetime. And if I make it and I believe in God and I do this, I'm in the kingdom of God. You're lost. You're hopeless. It's hopeless. No, you must understand. You come from nothing and you evolved through countless bodies until you reach the human form, all the lower species. But now back to the question, why didn't the baboon become extinct? Because, beloved, it's only a grade, it's a level, and the level below it. Like, for instance, there's like the ape and a lower, less intelligent baboon and a smaller monkey and, say, a dog and, say, a rabbit and, say, whatever, down to a snail and down to bacterial forms. So now every spirit has to go through those levels until they reach the human form. And then you will take many human lives until you reach the level where God connects with you. And through each lifetime, you become more wiser and wiser and wiser. So you are inside the body. You started down there. You Remember, don't focus on anything else, anybody else. Your spirit in that body, you evolved through all those species. You went through all these grades like a school, and you became more intelligent and more intelligent and more intelligent until you reached the human form. And then you went through lifetime, and even when you were in lower species, beloved, you didn't go through a dog, say you went through a dog life, because there's many animals that's at the same level of intelligence. So if you went through a dog, you didn't take one dog life. You had to take many dog lives until you completed that intelligence of the dog. Because you'll see there's dumb dogs that you can do nothing with, and then you get another one that's super intelligent. They even, it sounds like they're talking nowadays. You know, they absolutely know exactly. They're so compassionate. The same with cats. The same with so many animals. I've seen cows really, and I don't want to go there, that cries when the owner died, and they are slaughtered and all these things. But anyway, so I don't want to go there. But so you evolved through all these species, millions of years, and it's not just. And that's why people say that Adam and Eve were made, the animals were made, Adam was made, the earth was made, and here we go. Beloveds, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And what else? So the earth was the first planet ever made. No, how can you, I mean, the universe is, the planet is something like 4 billion years old, but that's a very, very, very young planet in comparison to other planets. And now that's why I say, when I speak to these professors or the atheists, they say, but you're not a Christian. So why am I not a Christian? Because they don't believe in atheism or in evolution. They don't believe in evolution. I say, who says that? They don't, because they don't know, because they don't read the Bible. But we know everything, because it's our Father that created it. So we know exactly how it works better than you, because you dissect things that you don't know nothing about, these the physical bodies. But now you're cutting up the physical body, but that which gave it life, you're missing all that heavenly glory. You're missing the fact of why evolution had to happen, for the spirits to evolve through to return to God. Isn't it? Like a professor, he teaches, and all these grades are formed, and that same student goes from first grade, second grade, third grade, university, and it becomes a professor, and it's done. And that's how it works. And then you get intelligent people, and you get people that's not intelligent. And as I mentioned before, you get a little boy of 6 years old or 5 years old, and he plays a piano like Liberace, and they're brilliant. They're just super intelligent. Even the parents can't cope with them. Why? That's evolution. And it's the same in spirit. That's why it's a sin, beloved, to put a child through dogmatic religion, because you're totally brainwashing them and teaching them to fear and all the plasticity that goes with it. That soul is unique. That mind is unique. It's millions of years of collected memory. You will see in my books, in Secrets of the Unknown God, where why does a person have a phobia for water or the dark or heights? Why? They've never been somewhere on a high place. They've never been in a dark place where somebody threatened them or something, or they fear of water. Maybe they drowned in a former life. And that was so bad on the mind. It was such an impact. It gave such an impact to that mind that when it was reborn, it knows. It doesn't know why, but it just can't come near water. I hate water. I hate the dark. I'm claustrophobic. Maybe somebody drowned, or they were smothered, or whatever. And that's how the phobia, because your mind is collected memory of your past and your past lives. So all those things come with you, and you got all these files stacked away. And now your main objective in this lifetime as a human is to get rid of those files, to become who you are. Get rid of mind and become soul, become self. And that's who you are. And that process is from becoming spiritually formed, Adam, and then God-loving flesh, wanting to go to the cross, wanting to overcome, wanting to meditate, wanting to ascend, into dying and becoming. And that's exactly all started billions of years ago, where these spirits evolved and evolved and evolved and evolved. You, beloved, went through countless bodies, went through countless years about, and remember, beloveds, it's not just that you were in bodies, because the mind, that's all the mind understands. But you left the body. The guy that's in the Amazon, or the guy in Joburg, or the Buddhist, or the Hindu, or the Muslim, or the Christian, wherever, they die and then they come back. How long were they outside the body for? There's no time. Okay, there is time in the astral, because there is time allotted to everything that's connected to the physical earth, because it has to come through this realm to ascend into higher levels of consciousness. That's why the kingdom of God is within you, and this is the gate through which you will go. But that gate you only receive when you reach that level of wisdom. Or you not actually, it's there, but you won't realize how to, from the 6th to the 7th chakra, how to ascend above that, or from that state of understanding to a higher spiritual level of understanding to become soul. We don't understand how to do that. So that's why when you reach these levels, now you start knowing everything. You know where you're from, you know where you're headed, you know the entire path. And now they say, no, but what was in my first lives and I want to do. Don't go there. You can if you want, beloved. If it interests you, go. If it really interests you, go and find out about it. Do it. There are many wise people that you can listen to, that can analyze you and tell you how you think. And even you just listen to them. They're super intelligent. Like Tolly and Sadhguru's super intelligent, and Alan Watts, and there's so many of them that are so intelligent, and they talk about God, they talk about Jesus, and they read the Bible, and they say Jesus could never have been a physical being. Or they say this, or they say things that the religion, dogmatic religion, don't understand. And they were never there where you are, but they can't break through. They can tell you all these things, which is super intelligent, which is super high, but they never have that, just that final step to go through, to break through. They don't know that exists, because a lot of the things they still take physically, and they tell. So when you start understanding your path, where you're from, how you evolved, and what your purpose is, to seek, find, and enter the kingdom of God, to ascend and become part of the ocean of light. That's it. So that's why you have to understand that monkey or the ape or any form of species, we must protect that, because that is how God formed us, to reach this level and to ascend higher, to reach God. And because when you reach the human form and you reach this level of understanding, now you break through and you're in a higher, now you're above evolution. Now only spiritual evolution will work for you. Now you evolve spiritually only. You will never take this form again, because you ascended above that. From nothing, you evolved and evolved, and you reached the human form, and you evolved, and you became all the more intelligent, all the religions, all the races, all the hells you went through, and you were out of the bodies and in the bodies and back and forth and back, until you reach this level where you are now ready to break through the gate. That's why you got the body. But when you break through the gate, you're only in the first heaven. Now, in those heaven, when you leave your body, you say, but I'm still me. Nothing changed. I'm still me. I still think exactly the same. I'm still the same. I love this. I love God. I love this. Now I'm talking about above, not when you back into the astral. That also, yeah, you're just going to have to come back. But when you're above, when you use the gate, then you're in a higher level of consciousness with less flesh, less fleshly understanding, because you understand more spiritually. You understand more about your purpose, who God is, what your creator is, and all this. Now you must evolve further. Now there's different heavens, there's different levels. So now there you have to overcome more flesh, more understanding, more mind. Then you become more spiritual. Now you can't go back there because now there's no more time. It's just you go on and on and on and on until you become God, till you become the source. The drop of the soul, the drop of light returns to the drop of to the ocean of light. And that's how it works. But it started here. So nothing can be replaced. You see? That's the way God made it. That's how you evolve. That's how you become more intelligent. And then how does your personality form? How's your personality form? I'm just going to give you a simple example. Don't quote me on it, but just think logically and see what you think about it. Say, for instance, you evolved through a rabbit, and then a lion, and then a gorilla, and then a human being. Totally different ways of understanding and lives, and then a human being. And the other one through, say, a dog, and then a parrot, and then a dolphin, and then a human being. Because you know a dolphin has a bigger brain than a human. So, but anyway, I'm just using the example. You don't have to go through a ape to enter. That's just what scientists think, because they don't understand the soul. If you understand soul, you will know when you reach that level in that animal, from there you can evolve to a human form. So now, if you go through like the dog and the lion or whatever, and then to a dolphin, and you become human, how will your personality be? Oh, my child love water. Oh no, my child hate water. Oh no, I love the ocean. Oh no, I love the bush. I like to be at the bush. And I like this, and I like this kind of people. I like that kind of people. And everybody have different ways of understanding, because there's millions and millions of different bodies that you could have evolved through before you reached your human form. And then the way you died, and the way you got cancer, and now you're scared of this, and you were drowned, and you were eaten by a lion, and the one was in a car accident, and the one fell from a building, and the other one was smothered, and the other one. All will impact your mind. Because that's what keeps you here. That's what keeps you bound to the earth. All these things, all your fears, fear will always bind you. If anger, ego binds you, because that's what you want. I want to be the best. I want to do this. That binds you totally, because you don't want more. This is, this is what I want. This is what I am. It's not who you are. It's not who you are. You are soul, which is imprisoned by mind. Millions of years of evolution. So that's how different people have different ways of understanding and different personalities. Does it make sense, beloveds? That's how it is. So through all these things, nothing can be taken away. God did it absolutely perfect. But we as humans, we must, in the physical side as well as in the spiritual side, we must look after what God gave us. We must look after the planet. And that's why Adam, even in the spiritual side, Adam named all the animals. We are in control of all the animals. Why are we the most intelligent? Because you were there. Why can a professor teach a first grader, but a first grader can't teach him? Because he was a first grader. The first grader was never a professor. You were an animal. That's why you can control the animal. You were there. Known or unknown. Conscious or unconscious. You don't know. And that's why these things you have to learn. Then you know you become the power you really are. Because that's the gift. That's who you are. You are brilliant. You're a super intelligent being, computer, robot, brain, and whatever. You are super. But you neglect it because you don't understand where you're from. You're just born and you programmed Jesus this and God that, and now you must be careful because you go to hell and the animals are dead, they are there. But beloveds, if you think logically, as I said earlier, look at a dog and a cat. Even lions, these lions that they have owners that when that guy returns to the lions, they just about want to eat him. They love him so much. Bears, all animals, dolphins, they love the people because we can control them. And the compassion they have is more than humans, beloveds. They are so compassionate. And now, what gives them that compassion? Oh no, if they die, there's nothing left. Hello? How can you say that? What happened to all that love? What happened to that life in that form? The brain or what? The nervous system or what? What gave it life? How can we be so arrogant? It's not even normal to think that way. So, beloveds, as I said, they all have life that when it dies, it evolves to a more intelligent life form all the time. Because in every lifetime, you learn. You learn so much in each lifetime. And that's why I want to tell you today, always love animals. Because it helps them on their way up. I don't say pick up every stray dog and every stray cat you find. If you can afford it and if you can do it, it's fine. But don't burden yourself so much that you can't give your attention to God. You're at another level now. You can't bind yourself with things that will preoccupy your mind so much that you can't give your attention to God. Because your duty is you can, if you want another lifetime, if you don't make it. But don't burden yourself with stuff too much. Because, but when something crosses your path, be friendly, be kind, help, and make the best of your time on earth, because you're very close to leaving the physical realms forever. And you know, beloved, when you become a professor, or when you start working, and you work for a few years and you look back, you say, you know, I wish I could get my school years back. It was so lovely. I wish I can live with my parents again, where they just looked after me. So where you are now, make a good job of it. Love God, love everything He created, because He creates also in the spirit world, He creates through you. So I hope that makes sense, beloved. Where you're from, why the lower species can't die, because it serves as a school for new spirits to evolve until they reach the human form. That's why nothing will evolve further than human.